What is going on, YouTube and Spotify? This is the Just BSN podcast. And today we have episode 136. And I know we didn't post last week. I started a new job and was not prepared for the schedule, and then ended up things getting a lot busy for the for the both of us. So just took the week off and regroup again for this week. But still got a lot to talk about. Still a lot of things happen. We obviously had the Giannis trade, which literally dropped like last night at like a random time. It was like midnight or 1 o'clock, I think, when that officially hit.
Yeah.
So we got that news to talk about. We got the NBA draft is tonight, which I know it's always pretty low key. Like when you think about drafts, you think about the NFL draft, or and how hyped it is. The NBA draft has no hype unless you are the team that's going to pick like top three. Like if you're a lotto pick, it's worth it. Other than that, you really don't know when the draft is until you're like, oh, that's right, the draft's tonight. Whoops. Then you just go. So
that was me today. I forgot the draft was today. I was like, oh shoot, the draft's tonight. Oh shit,
dude. I literally came home and I turned on the fan and I heard I think it was Padone and somebody else was on, and they were talking about the draft, and then and I just heard Nick say, I'm cool with the Cavs having their pick tonight. And I'm like, pick tonight? I was like, is the draft really tonight? And then I looked, I was like, oh, it is tonight. Sweet. I mean, I guess I'll have something to watch, but so we'll obviously see if the Cavs stay at 29 or if they decide, to trade it. I do expect the Cavs to be active tonight. I mean, I truly do expect them to try to make a move. I just don't think they're going to be ultra desperate unless they get the specific guys that they're trying to go after. So we'll see how that pans out. But got pretty much that to talk about today. We might squeeze some Guardians in. So yeah, we still got tons to discuss. But before we discuss anything else, Andrew, please do the honors of shouting out the boys at Effortless Wins for your sports advice.
Yes, boys. Check out our sponsor, Effortless Wins, for sports betting advice and plays to boost your wins. Talk to Tony or Greg. The link will be in the description of Spotify and the comments on YouTube. Code JustBSN26 for the discount. Guys, Greg is now back and active. He had some personal issues going on, so he was inactive for like a couple weeks. But everything's all good now. He's all good. Everything's sorted out. So he's back. He's active once again. So guys, be sure you guys go and talk to him. He started posting plays the last couple of days. He's been hitting once again. So guys, go and check out Greg. Talk to him, message him. It's definitely worth it. Obviously, like I said, the link in the Discord will be in the comments on YouTube, description on Spotify. Click that link, use it, go talk to Greg, and he will hook you up and get you guys right. Again, we're in the midst of so many sports right now. Right now, we have baseball in full swing. Right now, currently to my left on my TV, I have on the World Cup. World Cup is in full effect. So much to bet on, guys. Get active, get into that Discord, and talk to Greg.
Absolutely. I mean, they are. I mean, I'm not going to say the best because that's a little biased, but they are very, very good. They help out a lot of people. They know what they're doing, so it's certainly worth a shot if you were trying to upgrade and really invest in your betting. Which we don't bet nearly as much. We're not quite as active, but some of these guys, man, they can hit some really good bets if they know what they're trying to look for, and it's all a game. So you just got to play the game the way that they teach you how to play it. So be sure to check them out. They are great. They are really good to us, and we always appreciate them, of course. So yeah, being off last week, luckily nothing really happened. Last week, at least for us in terms of like the Cleveland sports world, because we're just kind of in that middle ground where it's Guardians. They're in a bit of a slump and they're doing their thing. They got some injuries. Obviously, the GOAT is out right now. We'll see how long that ends up being. CDL had a rib contusion, fracture, whatever it was. So he'll be out for probably another week or two, I would say, if not a little bit more.
I think they said he's getting ready to jump into some rehab within the next couple days.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like it was too severe. So
no.
I would expect him back sooner than later. But Angel has a ankle, I believe, right? Ankle or foot?
Is his ankle, because he fouled a pitch off his ankle
Of course.
and had a small kind of like small fracture, but again, it's nothing severely serious. I mean, him and Jose kind of have a similar timeline. They're both out kind of like the 4 to 6 week range.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like the extra few weeks for Angel is more kind of precautionary.
I agree.
Don't again these guys with these guys, you want to keep them as healthy as possible, and I think they realize, pushing them back too quickly. Like sometimes last year they got re-injured and things just didn't pan out. So
Yep.
you want to keep, especially with guys who are hot, like Angel, Jose was starting to get hot again. These guys you want to keep safe and healthy. So Angel will be back in about 4 to 6 weeks. Jose will as well. Because Jose suffered another hamate fracture, which he did it, I believe, in 2018. He had the same kind of injury.
Yeah, he did.
It's just from swinging the bat too hard, and he's used to having to deal with this. The only main worry is people are fearful that he's going to lose a lot of power, because that tends to happen when you have that kind of injury. You lose some power in your swing and your bat.
Yeah, but that's when you just get some better gloves and you kind of, get a little bit of better taping on, your bat. Like there's still plenty of ways to try to work around that stuff. Bat power and bat speed isn't just in the hands. So.
No, and it's funny because when he first suffered it back in like 2018, I think after he came back and had like a 3-4 game streak where he had a home run. So it's like, well, it didn't seem like it affected him that much.
No. I mean, I'm not worried about him like that. If it was something
severe,
severe, it would be different. But I'm just not too worried. And I know a lot of people were, obviously, anytime he gets hurt, it's like, oh shit, because it's like, he's the guy. But I've always been a guy that says like I would rather this happen now than happen in like August, because that's when you get an injury like this in August that really puts you in a rough spot for a playoff run, because you need your guys to be healthy by August to really make that last push. I mean, we saw what the Guardians did last year, from like July on, of just being able to just battle back. And honestly, Detroit is starting to get back to playing some better ball now too. So the guards have some time to get their things sorted out. Let some of these young guys continue to play a little bit. The outfield is quite young right now, but you still have Schneemann. You're going to have CDL back. And who knows, you could try to trade for one here in the next month, when we get ready for, the deadline. So it's not like the Guardians are in a bad spot. The starting pitching has been so much better. I know, it was like Cantillo had a really good night the other night. I think he had like 9 strikeouts and like 8 innings.
Yeah.
It was a really solid night. So guys are still continuing to step up. The bullpen still has a little bit of its issues. But once you get to Cade Smith, as long as you got a lead, you pretty much give yourself a good shot to win the game, which is good news because Cade has gotten better and better, I think, throughout the season. So, not overly worried. I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a rough spot, but as long as the guards can remain near or at the top of the division, I think we're going to be just fine. And when these guys do come back, it's going to be even better, and it's going to give them the push that they need. And again, we'll see what moves they make. I mean, it's not like, we talked about this in the last, episode where, the Guardians are in a really good spot to really make some moves still. So they have time. Not a lot of teams are going to look to move on certain guys. So you may not see a lot of activity this year. You really don't, because there's a lot of teams that are still within fighting distance of the wild card at the very least. And if that happens, I mean, not a lot of teams are going to make that push unless they are super desperate to get there. Like if they really feel like they have a chance, but they're down a bat or they're down a specific position, then they're going to go after it. But not a lot of teams are just going to move on for anything. So we'll see what the deadline looks like from this. But yeah, I don't know. There's not really too much else to to say about the guards. I mean, if you have anything else to add, feel free. But
yeah, I mean, what you said a lot of it already. You know, some of this has to do with injuries and whatnot. The bullpen is probably the only thing that's kind of terrifying at the moment because, you know, last night the Guardians get a lead, they come back in Chicago, get the lead, and then or no, they tie up the game immediately. Sean Armstrong comes in, gives up that lead. And usually it's the two same suspect people. It's Sean Armstrong and Matt Fessa. Because a couple of nights ago in Houston, Tanner Bybee went out and had a really phenomenal game.
Yeah.
I gave you the lead, and in came Matt Fessa and immediately gave up a 3-run homer as soon as he stepped onto the mound. So there definitely needs to be working some bullpen, aka Matt Fessa and Sean Armstrong. They need to get out because they're the ones killing this team. Now, granted, a lot of people are blaming Cade Smith for last night, for blowing the game last night. But again, he shouldn't have been in that position anyways because Armstrong should have never had blown the lead in the first place.
Yep.
And then the Guardians had to quickly come back and tie or get the lead back in the 9th inning. And again, don't get me wrong, Cade has been giving up quite a bit of hits this season. Did yesterday, and obviously, again, we lost, but I'm not fully putting that on Cade because, again, there's moments in time where Cade does get the blame, and there's moments in time where he should have had a multiple run lead, and it just hasn't happened. So I can't always put Cade in a horrible spot. Plus, the offense needs to start building leads. Again, there's multiple times last night, and you know, in so many games where the Guardians have so many scoring opportunities with bases loaded and no outs or 1 out, and they just can't seem to get a run in. They get guys who get a leadoff double and can't seem to score the run. So it's very frustrating when, you know, people are getting on base, but they're not getting home. So it does hurt, and it does affect, you know, the mentalities of the pitching and stuff like that. So if I'm the Guardians, you know, when it comes to Gabriel Arias too, I just remembered.
Oh my God. He's been back, and he is back.
Exactly 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts last night.
He's exactly what we thought he was.
And the thing that pissed me off the most is that in the first inning, bases loaded, he had a drop third strike. And mind you, if he would have actually ran to first, he would have been safe and a run would have scored.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what he does? Gets mad and just walks away, and they just lob it over to first. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? You could have made an attempt, because guess what happened? Our star boy right now, Travis Bazzana, had a check swing that went straight back up to the pitcher, like a little dribble back up to the pitcher. You know what he did? Full sprinting, and he beat the throw.
Yeah.
So if you put in a little effort,
that was awesome.
Yeah, and guess what? There was 2 outs when Arias had to drop their strike. If you would have made the effort and you got on base, there's a run across the plate, and it's 1-0 if you make it. So I don't know. He's also the only Guardian, I believe, in Guardians history to have multiple games already this season where he's went 0 for 4 or 0 for 5 with all strikeouts. And I'm sorry, but I cannot watch that anymore. At this point, I'm just ready to say, hey, Cooper Ingle, get up here. Ralphie Velasquez, get up here, because Arias makes me want to rip my hair out, dude. Mm-hmm. He is pissing me off. It's so infuriating. And he's playing third base every day. And I was like, you know who else plays third base really well? That's been not getting a lot of game time? Daniel Schneemann.
Yeah, he's our best center fielder, for God's sake.
I was like, and he also plays third base. Guess what? It seems like you need a third baseman right now. Hey, Schneemann. You know what? I think Schneemann would have been everyday third baseman if it wasn't for the Martinez injury. But again, You have Petey Halpin, you have Cleo Watson. Just throw those guys in the outfield. Stick Schneemann at third base. Arias should not be getting at bats. He should not be. You've done this experiment now for the last 2.5 seasons. Experiment's over.
He's definitely going to be
He's
the odd
trash.
man out. Like, we knew this, but now
Yeah.
it's just being more confirmed because, they kind of forced him to have to come up because of Ramirez getting hurt.
Yep.
And so it's like, with that happening, you're like, okay, well, now we know what we know. And Arias is just not the guy. He needed to change his scenery. And he may end up playing well somewhere else. That's fine. But he's not, he's just not going to do it here. It's just not going to work. It's one of those things where, these guys just don't really work out here. But you have some really good things going on. Bazana, again, as we said, like, his effort has been insane and his power is finally starting to come around. So like now you're seeing the full aspect of Bazana, and he's going to become a fan favorite rather quickly, as he is kind of already. But I'm telling you, fans are going to really, really, really gravitate towards him, especially because he's an Aussie. We had Delhi for the Cavs, and then now you're going to get an Aussie as a baseball player. Dude, count us in. Like, we love our Australians around here. We really, really do. I don't know what it is, but we love them or hate them. The Browns fans, or the Cleveland fans, I should say, love him. I'm sure Browns fans will also love him, but Browns fans should be Cleveland fans. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that is I don't know, that's pretty much gonna do it for the Guardians, at least.
Yep.
We can discuss obviously the Cavs. We discussed this Giannis trade that happened last night, which I guess we'll start there to kind of get into the draft talk. Yeah, man, what was your reaction, I guess, to the Giannis trade? Like, because this dropped at like midnight or 1:00, I think it did. So it's really interesting timing.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting timing. I mean, Giannis going to Miami is nuts. But also, we talked about this beforehand, that it's a weird place for him to go to.
Very.
Because, again, you had your pick of the litter. You had Cleveland, Boston. You had a couple of these places where you could have gone to that you could have competed in, and you chose Miami.
Yeah,
I mean, if that's what he wants, fair enough. I'm not gonna be mad at it. But there was an opportunity to go somewhere to compete, and I don't think Miami's that place because, again, you had to give up. I believe it was Tyler Hero, and a couple other Jaime Jaquez, and a few others that were solid.
Plus,
and
like 2 or 3 first round
picks
on top of that. Like,
yeah,
they gave up a lot of their future just for a few years of Giannis, like good years of Giannis. And I don't know if that's going to elevate them with Bam as your other guy. And then, you have Wiggins, you have Powell, who honestly, they're probably going to lose Powell in free agency. I guarantee it. Yep. And so that just kills them too. Like, you have to do what you have to do to get Giannis. But, man, that came at a hefty price. And ultimately, that's why Milwaukee did that deal over going with, Boston or something like that. But, I'm sure Giannis also had to sign off on going to Miami or going, wherever. It just seems like an odd fit. And I'm not, as you said, I'm not sure how this is going to work. I mean, they're going to be a top 4 or top 5 team in the East regardless because it's the East. The East is a little bit weaker. But I just don't know if they're going to be like a conference favorite come playoff time. I really don't.
No, and they're definitely not going to be because, again, you still have to get through the Cavs. You still have to get through the Knicks.
You still have to get through Boston as long as they stay alive,
Yeah, if they stay healthy, you have to get through Boston. So there's still 3-4 teams that are better than you still. Because Detroit's still really good too.
That's not even including Indiana, dude. I keep forgetting about them. They're going to come back and be much better.
Yeah, so you've really set yourself up for some failure going to Miami when you could have had the top 3 teams and you just did not do anything. So, for Giannis, it'd be good for you, but also too, it's not the best place to be right now.
No.
So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. He's gone to where he feels like he's going to be the most happy, but that doesn't mean you're going to win where you're happy.
I mean, he's going to be happy because he's in Miami. So he's, he
Oh
got out of
yeah,
Milwaukee, which was, a not so great place to be. And now he's going to be in Miami, basically partying every weekend. So, like, yeah, he's probably going to love it, but are they going to be really good is the question. I don't know. I just can't. I can't foresee this going super, super well for Miami. But who's to say? We just BS over here. So, like, what do we really know? To be honest, what do
I
we
mean, yeah.
really know? It just felt like such a weird pick, and again, how much they gave up for him is what kind of concerned me, and it puts them in a rough spot for their future. If Giannis gets hurt this year and he continues to deal with these calf injuries that he's having, this is not going to go well for Miami, and it's going to pan out just like it did in Milwaukee, where they don't really have a lot of guys to really fall back on because he gave up an arsenal for him, and that's the reason why I always combat Cavs fans who talk about the James Harden trade, where it's like, it's not like you lost a significant amount of your roster or a significant part of the team in terms of like, what you gave up. Like, give up a 1-for-1, and that player ended up getting you farther than the other player could in previous years because he was always hurt and never really available. So it's like there's swords that you can fall on, and I don't know that you can even compare the Harden trade to a trade like Giannis going to Miami, because it's just night and day difference. But it still gets brought up in the same context, and I'm just like, man, you guys have no concept of how trades work and also how the NBA works.
Nope.
It's a unique business. They do a lot of these trades, and the only thing that I was surprised in was there wasn't a third team that tried to jump in, which I'm sure there was. I'm just surprised that Milwaukee and Miami didn't try to get a third team involved to try to move on. If they knew a Norman Powell was going to leave, then you go. Or if Hero doesn't want to be in Milwaukee, then he could have, gotten traded somewhere else and just kind of added more to the pot. Because
I
some
would have
teams
loved a
do
Tyler
that.
Hero.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot, like, when they were talking about like Detroit getting involved in that, I was like, dude, do not let Detroit get Tyler Hero. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm glad they didn't do that, but I'm very surprised that it honestly didn't happen, because I was like, it makes sense. Detroit needs a guy like that, but again, that would have just helped them. But Milwaukee gets a nice, like a really nice haul out of this. Like not even just the draft picks, like all three players that they got out of this are pretty good. I mean, obviously Hero is who he is. And then they got two more youngins that have proven to be really solid. They're going to be scrappy for him. Obviously, Milwaukee isn't going to be a super threat, but what if Tyler Hero can get them to like 40 or 45 wins and, squeak them in, as a 7th or 8th seed, then that's kind of a big FU to Giannis for all of the things that they dealt with. And it's like, okay, you just never know. So like, I'm curious to see how quickly the Bucks can get on their feet. I'm not sure it's going to take them quite as long as some people might think. And that's what I'm excited about. But isn't it really funny, by the way, before we get into the draft, Chebby Haslam has been a part of not one, but two really significant trades between the two teams that he owns. Like, he was a big part of, Miles. He was a big part of Giannis. It's just, it's crazy that he gets to stamp his name beside both drafts or both trades and be like, yeah, I signed off on that. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
And honestly, Milwaukee got a better haul.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the Browns didn't get a good haul, but like, man, Milwaukee got 3 first-round picks. Like, that is absurd. That just puts them in a really, really, really good spot for a while. So I don't know. I think it's a solid move, and I don't blame him one bit. I think Milwaukee did a really good job in this deal overall.
I think so too. And again, it definitely helps Milwaukee in the long run. It helps them rebuild. It helps them get back into something a little bit quicker than what they were doing. So I think Milwaukee definitely won the trade because we looked at the Miami roster before we did the show, and the roster was just atrocious for Miami outside of Bam Adebayo and maybe one other guy or two other guys, because Andrew Wiggins is kind of just very average. So it's to me, it's just not. It was just not good for Miami. Yeah, Miami fans are probably celebrating because they got Giannis, but with an ankle injury, and if he's out, it's over. Your season's over.
Yeah,
it's not like Bam's gonna carry you.
And like that's kind of the same thing we said about the Miles trade, where it's like, dude, you're one Stafford, injury away from this trade not really doing you any good, and then you just lost a future DN that's gonna be locked down for the next 4 or 5 years anyway, who gave you success in the playoffs and really makes a big place for you overall. For Miles, who again, he's gonna do a lot for you, but
his backup is what, Stetson Bennett?
Yeah. Stetson Bennett and the rookie. What the hell is his name?
Simpson. God. Yeah. I forget it. Yeah. Yeah.
But even still, like, do you really trust Ty to ever step into that role?
No, not at all.
No. He is in the same ballpark for me as like what I think about JJ McCarthy. Like, I just don't see a lot in Ty Simpson that is gonna really like make or break a team. I don't see him ever being anything more than like a backup or a guy that could start, but he's not gonna give you like super crazy games. He'll have some good games here and there, but it's not gonna be a consistent charade of like you can't get used to Matt Stafford and then go to a guy like Ty. Now because it's McCarthy or not McCarthy, McVay. Just because it's McVay, of course, it's probably going to work out for him a little bit better. But even still, I feel like that's stretching it. And I don't know, man. They made the right move for what they need to do. Like they're clearly in that window where like Miami, were they really in that window? I don't think so. Like I mean, they were knocking at the door here and there, but like Miami was always near the bottom of the East going into the playoffs. And it's like, so you're going to go from an 8th seed to like what, a 4th or 5th seed, maybe a 3rd seed, maybe. And then you're going to still have to play teams with some really good depth that are going to be able to rickroll you and have guys that could be ball dominant and really, really, really just take it to you. That's where things are going to get dicey. And that's what I would be concerned about if I were Miami fans. But I'm not, so I really don't care. Good luck. Good luck. That's what I say. Good luck. I mean, Giannis, and like, that's not to say that Giannis wouldn't have been a sick move here, but I think no matter what way we look at it, we can look back and we can say, like, yeah, Evan Mobley wasn't the guy that was like the one that was the problem last year. Like, he was not the problem. Donovan didn't step up in the playoffs. James Harden had a pretty inconsistent playoff run. I mean, he had some moments, but besides Donovan's few good games against, what was that, Toronto, I think, where he had like the 40-point half or whatever it was, where it was just absolutely insanity. Other than that, like, he really had some really rough games in those series. And obviously with New York, I mean, New York rickrolled us. Now, New York deserved it because New York won it all. And, like, that's why I'm like, okay, at least the Cavs lost to the team that won it all. And won it all pretty considerably. I mean, we all thought that the Spurs were going to give them a really good run and even, possibly win that series. And I still think the Spurs actually were, like, sort of the better team. But New York just had everything going good for them. Like, they were just playing the best basketball that you can ask for. And sometimes that's all you need. Like, everybody filled their roles well. Everybody stepped up and everybody was just ready for the moment. The Spurs were not. I mean, the Spurs are young, but the Knicks were ready for that moment. And I feel like the Cavs can take that in and say, okay, like, if that's what it takes, then we have to really get there any means necessary. And if that means running it back with this team and really giving them a full year with James Harden again, I'm not saying that is what's needed. I'm saying that it's not going to be the end of the world, but you definitely need to get another wing and you definitely need to improve on the roster, which is what we're going to get into next. Now, if you didn't know, because we both found out today that the draft was today, because we don't pay attention to the NBA draft unless you're a lottery pick.
Yep.
But the Cavs have the 29th pick tonight, and there's lots of talk about them potentially shipping it or shopping it. We'll see if they end up deciding to stick or not. I think they're going to be really active, but I don't think they're going to be utterly desperate unless they get the specific guy or set of guys that they want or they are desperately trying to get under the apron. Those are the only two ways that I see them doing it in a heartbeat. Other than that, like, I can see the Cavs absolutely sticking at 29 if a guy falls and they really like a backup big man or an actual wing or a guard or whatever the hell they want to kind of help bolster the lineup. But shopping this does make a little bit more sense, in my opinion. I want to know your thoughts. Like, do you prefer to kind of shop this because you're more worried about the apron, or is it just I'd rather shop this because it just makes more sense for the roster and what the need is now compared to 2 or 3 years down the road?
I wouldn't mind shopping just for the fact that it's just about for me it's about getting under the second apron because I think there's better moves you can make and that you can actually go out and make. I don't know what it's no disrespect to any of the young kids getting drafted tonight, but I don't see anyone at 29, maybe 30 that's going to lift you over the edge. Now, don't get me wrong, there's guys you drafted late like Tyrese Proctor.
Yeah.
I believe Jalen Tyson was a late pick as well. That these guys, they're good ball players, very good ball players.
Yep.
Especially Jalen Tyson, who took a massive step this year.
Yep.
But is there the thing is there anyone in this draft class that can be like that could help elevate, or that could come, have a decent rookie season and then come and elevate you
right
later on, like a Jalen Tyson did, where he was starting making shots and stuff like that. It's really tough to gauge. But instead of counting on a rookie or a draft pick, I'd rather be able to go out and get someone that, has already been in the league for multiple years, who has experience and can come in and, again, really make a difference. Because, again, you're a team fighting for the Eastern Conference. You need someone who can elevate you now and get you to that next level. And that should be the big focus. So if I'm the Cavs, I'm maybe looking at shopping that 29 and see if you can't. Yeah, and even if you can get into a 3-team trade or something, get into a 3-team deal and see if you can't get pieces out of that too. So I would assume that tonight the Cavs are going to be making a lot of phone calls and
100%.
seeing, especially maybe because I know there's rumors that Atlanta are trying to pursue Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
So, maybe see if you can't get involved in that or something like that, or see if you can't get involved with another. So, I wouldn't mind seeing the Cavs try and be a little aggressive tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wouldn't hurt them, and I think where they're at and where they need to be, and knowing that they should have been closer. I mean, they should have taken to New York a little bit harder than they did.
Uh-huh.
But clearly they were gassed, and like that's the thing is like you were gassed because you didn't have a wing. Going out and getting a Trey Murphy or even a Herb Jones out of the Pelicans or somebody within that caliber, who dude, that talks about a big difference. Or if you decide that you're done with Mitchell and you want to go get Jaylen Brown, so you pair him with the first round pick, and you pair him up with Harden and Mobley, and you somehow can keep Allen. Holy shnikes. You want to talk about a team. That's the team. Because then Jaylen Brown can be that wing. Then you can still start a guy like a Max Strus or something at your shooting guard. Or you can have, Jalen Tyson as your shooting guard instead of having him be the 3 at 6'6". I'm tired of having small forwards here on this team 6'6". I need a small forward that's going to be 6'8" and above. 6'8" to 6'9". That is a small forward. Maybe 6'7", okay? But but again, the Cavs need to stop trying to force smaller lineups just because they have 2 big men. And if that means getting rid of one of the big men, so be it. It's going to be Jared Allen if so, but that needs to come with, okay, if we're doing that, then we're putting a lot more on Evan Mobley's shoulders, or we're putting more, on James Harden's shoulders to get Mobley involved more. And I feel like that would make a little bit more sense than getting Donovan. But I just don't see the Cavs moving on from Donovan unless it is a absolute ridiculous haul, because they gave up a big haul for him. So it's only right that if they were to trade him, they give him one. But Don wants to be here, and I'm not going to tell him no.
No.
You just need him to play better. You need him to be a little bit more of a playmaker instead of just a shot creator. For himself, because when Donovan's playing his best ball, Donovan is facilitating and he is making plays for other people and himself in the process. That is when Donovan Mitchell is at the top of his game, and he had moments in the playoffs where he played those games. And you're like, man, where's this Donovan at? Like where is this version of Donovan at? This is the version that can win us so many more games if he just stays this way. But sometimes he doesn't. And then you fall back into those ways and you get into kind of like how Garland was, where Garland had all of this ability to facilitate and be a really good point guard. And then he would have these moments, especially in the fourth quarter, where he just wants to play hero ball and try to chuck up threes. And I'm sorry, bro. You might have some good handles, but you are no Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
Kyrie was the only guy I'd ever trusted and ever will trust to do stuff like that, because Kyrie had that ball to just do whatever he wanted at all times. He made the most difficult shots. He made the most difficult layups. He was the most creative. And again, one of the best, it still is one of the best ball handlers I have ever seen. And I know that comes with people saying, "Oh, what about Allen? I understand, or whoever." Kyrie, man, Kyrie, especially prime Cavs Kyrie.
Yeah,
what an absolute killer of just man. You did not want to be in his way when he was trying to go around you. So, Garland just didn't have that, and that's why it just never really worked out. And if Mitchell were to hit those shots more consistently, yeah, sure. But Mitchell is kind of on and off. Sometimes he'll make 5 threes in a game. Sometimes he'll make 1. you just really don't know what version you're going to get from him until he steps out on that floor. But he also can't get on to slow starts. He had so many slow starts in the playoffs, dude. That was probably the most frustrating part about Don is he just had so many slow starts to where you're going into the fourth quarter. You're like, dude, I need you to score like 20 in order for us to win this game. That's how bad it is. And because you have 15 by the end of the third and we need 30 out of you. Like, all right, well, let's see what you could do. But then it's just like, it's almost like too little too late. And then at that point, you're kind of putting yourself in a position where you're having to put on the boost every fourth quarter. And I just don't think that's a great way to play basketball. And I don't think that is a, great way of running an offense. So I'm hoping too that guys like Kenny Atkinson can kind of get a better idea of what he wants to do with this offense and actually coach it. Because it sounded like James Harden was the one really trying to coach it. And when you hear about James Harden being the one that kind of leads everything, that doesn't necessarily bode any confidence towards Kenny. And I think that's why a lot of people ripped on Kenny for this playoff run.
I agree. I mean, in reality, tonight is about what kind of help you can get for the Cavs, whether it is in this draft, whether it is through trading that first round pick and getting someone, make it. And I'm sure again, as the draft just started, the Cavs are taking phone calls, seeing what's available, or making phone calls, seeing what's available. And again, it's about getting the guys that Kenny wants or getting the guys that Don needs. So we're gonna see what happens tonight. And we're just going to figure out, are the Cavs going to be doing something? They're going to stick with that 29th overall, or are they going to trade it away, or are they going to try and maybe surprise everyone, make a little splash tonight? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I'm sure a lot of Cavs fans are going to keep up an eye on, especially with Twitter. Like, there's going to be a lot of people looking for the Cavs to make some sort of move. Big or small, the Cavs need to probably do something. So I expect them to be active. I expect at least the rumors to be active. Whether or not they make the decision or not is what it is. But they are definitely going to try and make some sort of move tonight. But we'll see who else bites first. There's going to be some activity. Every single NBA draft, there's activity. Honestly, every draft, there's going to be activity. But every NBA draft, the activity just goes up.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man, I don't know. That's pretty much gonna do it for me. I don't really have too much more to add to this episode. Again, there's not really a lot more going on. We're still a month and a half until we get Browns camp again. So there's really not going to be Browns talk until middle late July. So we're going to be on a lot of Guardians talk and whatever else is going on in the leagues. Obviously we got the FIFA World Cup, which I know USA is doing good, and we're very happy, happy about that. I know you've been able to keep up on the World Cup, so I've been trying. Yeah, I was about to say, if you guys don't all have him on TikTok, he literally posts every day of some sort of predictions for each group and each game. So if you guys like the FIFA World Cup content, he is the one that's there. So always check him out for any sort of soccer news because Andrew's always on it. Andrew's always on it, and he has the time to get on it. So if you guys like it, check out his thing. I know his is in the description as well. But
also check out our TikTok page, Just BS and TikTok page, because we've been posting every day on there as well. We've been posting podcast clips. And if there's any personal news, I'm sure if the Cavs do something, we might make a separate video for that. Yeah. So be sure you guys go check out our personal TikTok page, the Just BS and podcast page. Because we're posting every single day.
Just in. And the first pick was in, so it's going to be AJ Dabansa from BYU. That is who the Wizards picked. After the Wizards, by the way, can we talk about this before we leave? Trae Young's contract.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude, that's
You want
disgusting.
that's a bad deal.
That's a bad
The Wizards.
contract.
It's not good. It was like 4 years, like 212 million to a
It's a
guy that
horrible
hasn't
contract.
done anything, who's
Yeah.
tiny. Not good. I don't know if the Wizards fans are going to be excited about that, but they are definitely going to be excited about that pick because I know that pick's going to be really, really good. So,
Oh yeah.
good for them to get that guy. But anyways, we'll see y'all next time. As he said, check out the TikTok, check out the YouTube as well. So not only are we having our long podcast going on, we're also posting the shorts to YouTube, which go on TikTok as well. So those all go to the same place. So if you guys like one and you want to try to support us on another, everything's there. So keep it locked. We're getting back into it. We'll see you next time.